us dream about having a job that does something good for the natural world. And I'm betting a bunch of you have dreams of creating your own business and working for yourselves, telling your boss to piss off. I'm a strong, independent human. I can make money for myself. Hang on, I gotta get the gate. Whoa, here we go. But surely you can't run a business that makes money, and have a positive impact on the natural world. I've been traveling around Oz meeting a bunch of cool crews that have had a positive impact on the planet. Not-for-profits, individuals, community groups, but also some legends that have taken their cool idea and turned it into a business. People may go, oh, they're just trying to make money. Money, 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 money. Ooh, money. But that money can allow people to have a greater impact. Here's a bunch of legends that I've met that have taken their idea and turned it into a business for good.
Act Loco!
This is Brad and Narelle Scott of Transmutation.
So I love my chemistry, so traditionally, you know, people like me would stop and do a gin distillery or something. I've seen Dave Hackins on YouTube with these precious plastic. I came home a bit like Jack and the Beanstalk, figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a small plastic recycling factory in August. That's a good deal.
That a lady walked in our door 2 months after we opened up and she had a box of bread tags. I send them to South Africa because that's where the charity, they'd sell their plastic to the manufacturers and that's how they fund wheelchairs for the needy. Her and her friends would collect them in Adelaide and they'd cash them in here to a manufacturer and of course they couldn't find anybody who'd take them.
So what does Transmutation do with the metric shit ton of bread tags that get delivered every month? Make these bloody epic bowls.
It's a way over-engineered piece of packaging. Your bread, you need it for 5 days, 10 days or whatever. And this thing's still 30 years later. And its whole purpose in life was to hold that loaf of bread together.
Brad and Narelle haven't stopped there. They continue to innovate with their use of polystyrene.
So there's about 540 councils in Australia. Only about 40 of them would have a thermodensifier.
So if you can imagine roughly 3 cages of this stuff put through a machine and 1 brick is formed.
Out of the 40 that do it, they have a market for their stuff. We are a market for it as well. So we Mount Gambier have one of these machines, we get it off them, we make our bowls. So I've got my handmade stuff back there with the bread tags. Then when we went into the styro bowl, I needed to mould, injection mould the styrofoam that I've recycled. So you can get it done, obviously contract manufacturing, but I thought if I get the machine myself, then I can do all of my R&D and everything here in one spot. So big commercial investment, but now we've made it, we're very happy because it's also led on to the stuff we're doing with the Dulux stuff as well. I'm taking the powder coating and why that is hard to recycle. It's a thermoset plastic, it's in a powder form. I'm mixing it with other recycled plastics and we're coming up with our polymer, I'm calling it post-prime plastic. It's a polymer that can be recycled again, uses a fair bit of the Dulux waste in its inception and ingredients, and we can tweak it for different applications as well, which is the really exciting thing about what we're doing.
Australians love a good cup of coffee, but what's the cost of our obsession of walking down to the local cafe to get our daily dose of morning bean juice? Approximately 1.8 billion takeaway coffee cups dumped into landfill annually. Most takeaway coffee cups are lined with polyethylene plastic on the inside of the cup. These are not recyclable in Australia, they are also not compostable, and they will not break down in landfill. Blech. A bunch of states across Australia are actually phasing out these cups, which is sick, but it's still not the solution. Even if you do get a commercially compostable cup, let's hope you're in one of the 50 or so out of a possible 537 councils across the country that can actually process these styles of cups. You're saying there must be a better way. Well, there is. We just had to import a van-living French couple to offer some compostable alternatives so we can compost our coffee cups at home.
Most important thing about that cup is obviously it's certified home compostable, so you can check it with your worm farm and it will compost in about 10 weeks.
Say what?
Basically, once you're done with your coffee, you just chuck it in your backyard compost or bury it in soil in 10 weeks. It fully breaks down and composts and there's nothing left. So most of our products are made from either agriculture byproducts or waste products. So for example, our coffee cups and lids are made mostly from paper fibers.
The cup comes in with obviously a home compostable lid. It goes in the compost as well as with the cup. There is no compostable cup but plastic lid thing. Cafes would purchase hot cups for coffee and cold cups for cold drinks. And the cold cups they get are the bioplastic transparent one with the green line. Which is commercially compostable only, by the way, not home compostable. But those cups and the lids that come with them are very expensive. But instead, just buy those lids and just change the lid according to the orders. That's a big saving for them in terms of money and in terms of space. They're saving as well.
Bang, bang.
Yep. So that's for ice drinks.
But wait, there's more.
This is our home compostable gloves. So basically, it's to replace the vinyl plastic gloves.
And they also have a pretty revolutionary straw because
It can actually last longer than 30 minutes in your drink. And I think that's a massive difference on the market.
And we can get all of this on your website? Is that
Absolutely, on compostablealternative.com.au.
What's important for us is to offer a complete solution to cafe owners in order to better manage their waste, limit their waste, and make sure that everything they're doing is creating value instead of creating more waste.
A sea-bin is the most simple thing in the world that no one had ever thought of, which was we put a rubbish bin in the water. So it's a cross between a pool skimmer and a rubbish bin. So we've got a water pump that sits underneath, so the water comes in from the top, it goes through a filter, the plastic stops in the filter and the water continues out cleaner than it was before. And so in the filter we've got a 2mm by 2mm hole, and so we're catching microplastics which are less than 5mm, but we're getting microfibers, we're getting all sorts of stuff, tiny stuff, down to like particles that you can't even see. The most valuable thing that we're doing is collecting the data and using the data for prevention purposes to create new policies, support legislation, lobby polluters.
Let's now shift to how these beautiful bins actually make some money, because it's not as straightforward as you may think. I don't want to be like Mike Monroe back in the day, this is your life, but it started off with you were selling the bins.
Yeah.
And then there was a pivot.
Well, we just thought we were going to sell bins and we were going to fix the problem, but then we got smarter and realized that cleanup is not a solution by itself. You need a hybrid of solutions, so prevention and cleanup. And then we did a huge pivot in 2020 where we stopped selling things and we turned around to our clients and said, well, we'll clean up your marinas for free and we'll get someone else to pay for it. And they're like, hell yeah.
How does the nitty-gritties work? And kind of treat me like I'm five. This is the mansplain version of how the sea-bin makes money.
The consumer market has changed, which is changing business as we know it.
Yeah.
As a consumer, I want to purchase something that has purpose attached to it. So if I know that your product is saving the koalas or saving the oceans, I'll probably buy your product over someone else's that doesn't. You need to start fixing nature to do business. You don't have to, but you won't do very good at business if you don't. Discovery Channel or Yamaha, these are our clients. They're like, hey guys, you know, we heard you're fixing microplastics and plastic pollution. We heard you got the data. Can we purchase it? Can we buddy up? Can we partner? We're like, yeah, that's cool. You know, there's a cost involved. Discovery Channel, they don't clean the oceans. You know, they have subscription services, but they needed a nature project. And so we were the project that were like, well, we're going to clean up, but we're going to report the data to you, which you can then use for promotional marketing purposes. You know, we filtered X billion litres of water and we prevented X million microplastics. That was literally the model which we're moving out of now, because the sponsorships and partnerships was a bit restrictive. And so we're looking to the carbon market where you can fractionalize the impact and sell it in units of impact.
How does that work? Is it like token?
Yeah, like a token, like a carbon credit.
Yeah.
We know the impact is worth, I don't know, call it $1 million a year. And so not many people can buy $1 million worth of impact. So you fractionalize it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you go 1,000 blocks of $1,000. Somebody can afford $1,000, but they can't afford $1 million, and so you buy a fraction of the project. Somebody can't afford $1,000, so you do micro fractions and you turn it into dollar increments. You know, you do subscription plans for families, for individuals, retailers.
Reusing, recycling, and getting outside. Put those three together, you get Terra Rosa Gear, a company bringing new life to old adventure gear by cutting up and stitching mishmash fabrics to create one-of-a-kind recycled products. Headed up by local legend Evan Howard.
I love building and creating, and the outlet followed my passion, which was transferring to the outdoors. I love mountaineering, I love bike packing, I love skiing and backpacking, and and all of these things overlap so much in parts of the gear. So like sleeping systems are a huge passion of mine. The shelters, I love designs and the shelters and all that. Really the common denominator with a lot of them is going to be the materials and where the materials come from. And yeah, I love using the recycled kind of stuff or upcycled or saving bits or modifying other bits, an old jacket or old ski pants or something like that. And the material is great, but there might be something you've blown out the knee beyond repair and it's no longer going to function great as a ski pant. But the rest of the material is fine. You can take those and build something smaller or put it together that creates something larger. So yeah, I try to not cut up things that are still good and still have a life in what they are. But once a jacket's totally haggard, then boom, now it can become some hats. It can become bags of some sort. The pockets, the zips, those are all good. Take those, put those onto other things. That's not a hard thing to do, yeah. There's some hats kicking around here too. There's one. So again, old jacket. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Original. So that again, original zip brings back so many memories for me because I had a couple XCR jackets that like, how many times did you nearly die in those? What did he say? Like, oh man, like by mistakes as you're learning, or like, a rock fall or something, like the rock like whistles past you, you're like, whoa.
Why do you care about the environment?
Short answer is, well, it's everything. The environment is everything. Now, I can't do very much on the big scale, but this is the one little thing that I like to do, and it brings me a happiness to create, and it brings me a happiness to that I enjoy building these things for people to go out into these areas and use. And if it can be a slightly more positive effect than building it from new materials, then of course that's great. And we're all going to live and we're all going to have a footprint. That's not going to change. So if this is something that for Terra Rosa gear I can just minimize that footprint a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, then hopefully all of that helps towards something in the long term. This gear is made with a purpose. That purpose is to go out and be used. And if we lose the areas where the gear is supposed to be used,
what's the point of it?
There's no reason.
Looking cool down Burke Street Mall.
For sure. Go full Gorp core.
Are you bloody inspired yet? Because you should be. If you know another local legend doing cool shit in the space, comment their name down below and I'll link up with them. Love ya.